So just to get started, I went on and journaled on this vellum, and I'll tell you more about that later. I also just quickly printed out two photos, trimmed them down a bit from 4x6, and grabbed a couple of random items, and I'll see if I'm going to use them. Also, some black thickers and a 12x12 sheet of paper. So this is a very old sheet of paper, graphic 45, and I really just want to use the plain side, the card stock brown side. So I trimmed that to 6x12 because this will go into my 6 by 12 PL album. And I'm going to trim down the vellum, and just to get it just right, I'm just putting the photo down so I can see um, whether or not it lines up perfectly with the photos. So now I'm going to place the vellum at the bottom half of the 6x12 sheet and just trying to make that fit. So the inspiration for this particular layout, and it's very quick, is about failure. I was thinking about Ali Edwards' One Little Words and some of the words that she has used thus far, and none of them really seem to speak to my current mood. And then I happened to come across an article about failure and how so many of us experience failure, but it is about how we handle it, how we think about it. And for me, I was kind of sitting in what that means for me. And there's one particular issue that I think I have failed at, and I haven't lived up to my own expectations and kind of professional goals. And so that continues to kind of haunt me. And I wanted to journal about that. And so just kind of get it out on paper. It's still something that I will continue to kind of work with the struggle with, but I wanted to get it out on paper. So that's what kind of inspired this particular 6x12 layout. And I hadn't been able to really deal with it in any of the weekly Project Life spreads. So I hope you just saw that I just did a little bit of quick die cutting with some hearts, or created some hearts, and I'm going to put those aside and try to figure out how I'm going to use them. Before I do that, I want to go ahead and adhere the two photos. And so I put the first one down. And by the way, I just selected a less than perfect photograph. I put a few hearts on them using a photography app. And initially, I think that maybe I will smush or push both of the photos right up against each other so it looks like one whole long photograph. But in the end, I decided, well, I don't want to make it look like I'm trying to force them together. And the fact that I'm kind of cut in half, or a portion of me is broken, that actually really fits with the overall topic and theme that I'm discussing in the journaling. And so I decided to leave that little bit of space between the two photographs. And so now I'm just trying to see if I'm going to put those little hearts down. But before I do that, I want to go ahead and create the title. Now, one of the reasons I also like this photograph is that my face is a little bit blurry. It's not, again, a great image. And I like that white space, and I wanted to use that white space to kind of put the title of this particular 6x12 spread. So the title, initially I know I'm going to say failure. And so just using the ruler just to make sure I get it fairly straight. Doesn't need to be perfectly straight, but just fairly straight. So once I have that in, I'm thinking, well, that could be enough and that looks fine, and I could have stopped there. But it is also my journaling and kind of where my heart and head are at this moment. It's more than just about failure. But before I complete the title, that little white kind of plastic label, that is from one of Ali Edwards' kits, I want to say about 2 months ago. And so I thought that that was appropriate. It says, "Yes, I can," or something like that. And so I go ahead and place that down, try and decide if I want to include some some tags on the photograph. In the end, I opt not to do so. but I feel like there's something missing. It needs a little bit of, pizzazz. So I'm trying to figure out what that's going to be. So maybe those little hearts will do it. Maybe another little word. That little fact and feeling. One of those stickers that's from Allie Edwards. No. Most of the items in this little container that I'm pulling out are from Allie Edwards kits that I broke apart over the last, I guess, 4 to 6 months. So I have a couple of items that might work. So I think that I'm going to staple the vellum to the card or to the 6x12 sheet. And then I say, I actually like this little element here with the silver. That's a little bit of bling, just that touch of pizzazz that I wanted. And so now I'm going to go ahead and staple. And that also allows me to hold the vellum down to the bottom of the layout. So also one of these little sticker phrases that says something like continue or keep going forward, which is perfectly fitting for this spread. Now I want to return to this title. Wasn't exactly sure where I wanted to go, but you will see in the end, I think the title speaks to how I'm wrestling with failure, but that it's not just about failure. So these little letters that I'm placing down now, those are from the Michael's Recollections set. And again, they're very inexpensive. I think they're like $2 maybe. But lately I've really enjoyed their small size. So this title ends up including 3 different black fonts and sizes. So I end up going with failure and forgiveness, which is kind of where my journaling concluded with this layout. That yes, I have failed at some things. One particular thing really continues to bother me. But what I need to work on the most, it seems to me, is forgiving myself. Like letting go and being okay with the fact that I didn't do this one thing. I didn't accomplish this thing that I thought I would, that I would do. So failure and forgiveness is the final title of this spread. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of this glue. I just need to trim the heart down on the side so that it kind of looks like it's hanging over the edge. So I kind of just smush the glue all over the little plastic heart that I created the die cut. And that way you can't really can't see through it and it doesn't look odd at all. So I place a few of those down on top of the hearts that I created using the photography app. So this is a very simple layout. And at the end of the day, it was just about the journaling for me. I needed to release that. So is there something you need to release? Do you have any particular things that maybe you wanted to accomplish and you haven't? Do you need to forgive yourself? Do you need to let it go? Take the time, take the opportunity to sit with that and use your creativity. Use scrapbooking as an opportunity to let it go. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.